Imagine waking up one morning, opening your door, and seeing the sky completely black. Not from nightfall, not from a storm of rain, but from dust swallowing the entire horizon. For millions of American families in the 1930s, this nightmare was real. At the same time, banks were collapsing and jobs were disappearing. The land itself was turning against the people who depended on it. This is the story of survival during one of the hardest chapters in American history, the era of the Dust Bowl. The crisis began in 1929 with the Wall Street crash. Almost overnight, the American economy spiraled downward. Banks failed. Factories shut down. By the early 1930s, millions of Americans were unemployed. Families lined up at soup kitchens. Some sold everything they owned just to buy food. For decades, farmers had plowed millions of acres of natural grassland across states like Oklahoma and Texas. But when a long drought arrived in the early 1930s, the land dried out. The rich soil turned to powder. Powerful winds lifted the dirt into the sky. Gigantic dust storms began sweeping across towns and farms. Dust crept into homes, covered food, and filled people's lungs. Children wore scarves over their faces just to breathe. The worst storm came on April 14, 1935. A massive wall of dust rolled across the plains, turning afternoon into darkness. Witnesses described a black cloud thousands of feet high. For many, this was the moment they realized they could no longer survive. Desperate for survival, hundreds of thousands of families packed their belongings into old trucks and began heading west. Many followed the famous highway US Route 66 toward California. They hoped the orchards there would offer jobs. Life on the road was brutal. Families slept in roadside camps, struggled to find stability, and kept moving forward. Writers and photographers began documenting the struggles. One powerful story was The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. As the crisis worsened, President Roosevelt introduced the New Deal. These programs created jobs and helped restore damaged land. Experts taught farmers new techniques like crop rotation. Slowly, the soil began to recover. And slowly, the country began to heal. The Dust Bowl nearly broke millions. But through the darkest times, people showed incredible resilience. Their story reminds us that even in the harshest storms, human courage can endure. And now I want to hear from you. If you could live in any historical era we talked about, which would it be? Tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to Past and Present Tales for more historical journeys.